We would then love to project this structure across Africa in all 54 nations that are recognized currently over this continent. Because the heart, really, of our passion is we really want to see Africa rise and stand among the nations. For long and for years, we've been looking sad, Shem, poor this, poor that, as Africa. And yet, we have all the resources, we have now all the knowledge, we've been learning, we've been growing. For many years, the Western nations have dominated the space, and now the Eastern nations are coming strong. You can see that commercially in our space, that most of assets of the nation sits in foreign hands, and that's what it is, reality. And if you look at funding, the way we fund things and the way we create and innovate things we use and consume over Africa and our continent, you would recognize that majority of these things are owned outside of Africa. Our resources are heavily used and taken off our shores and used by the foreign nations, and then they come back to us in an extreme way, more expensive than actually we've given them away. We've literally given a lot of our assets for free, almost for nothing, in the name of whatever, you know, the horrible past we've had. But now we feel it's time to build. It's time to no longer be the poorest, developing world nation at this day and age, with all the knowledge, with all the technology, with all the intelligence that we have. We can now start standing, and let's now be counted among the nations, and let's be great. I think that is a conscious choice and decision that every one of our citizens needs to make, and that is exact why we want to communicate and engage those talents and those skills to deploy them in making this nation great. So to achieve this, we would then see to it that we obviously engage every nation, however their structures. I mean, if you look at the next door neighbor, Swaziland, they've got a different format of structure within the four regions they've got. They've got izinkundla, what they call izinkundla there, induna. They have a structure that suits them, and other nations would have different things, but we want to see to it that we have then a think tank in every single form of community across this continent. That will be great in creating a network that would start then leveraging on that collective knowledge and start producing, start being productive and creating, innovating, and that would assist in building African industries, 100% owned by Africa, from cradle to the grave, and producing things we can also consume, and those we can't consume, then we export. I think it is critical that all our citizens become well off, become great, and they have enough for ourselves first. And then out of the abundance, we then share with the rest of the nations in the world. I think we need to start looking after ourselves first. Charity begins at home. And really, we think of Africa as a whole because we know there were no borders. No one in Africa decided to put borders. These borders were put by foreign nations on us, and they don't make sense to us. We are one nation, we are one people, we are one continent. We are literal neighbors. We can work together, therefore, and recognize ourselves as such. And really, there is strength in our unity, in our numbers, in all the collective knowledge and the resources and assets of this continent. And if we really work together, we really will see an awesome future. We can turn this sad story of Africa, a continent, and our past, abusive past, and make it really a great turnaround in a very peaceful way, in a very beautiful way. Um, I believe one of our mandate it is to bring heaven here on earth. We use heaven as an ideal. What sort of system it has, it runs on. It's a beautiful place that has probably no sickness, no poverty, um, and there's peace. There's no war there. Nobody's killing anybody, and there's no crime. Nobody needs to steal anything. But there is harmony, and everybody has a role and a purpose, and everybody is contributing to that and using their talents and their gifts in the for the sake of the nation, and that is the ideal that we want to begin to see um, in our continent, even if it becomes an example for many other nations, a new way of doing things.